Hey guys, welcome back to season 2 of the Pizza Story podcast. This is our first episode in season 2, and I have Bill here from Beetle's Pizza. So, Bill, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. So, you're out in San Diego.
I am. Been out here going on 3.5 years. So far, so good.
That's awesome. So, I want to hear your story. I know that you do pizza pop ups, right, in San Diego?
Yeah, I've done two so far. So pretty sort of junior in it, learning as I go. But yeah, yeah, here in San Diego.
Okay, so tell me how you got into pizza.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of part of me. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, where it's more or less a rite of passage, right? I mean, pizza's on every corner.
Yeah.
And just growing up eating it at least once a week with my family was just a more or less tradition. I lived in Manhattan for about 7 years, and in Hoboken, New Jersey as well, where I feel like the more north you go, the better the pizza gets, especially in New Jersey. Even though that's changed a little bit over the last decade, I'd say, but I think the better pizzerias are above that sort of New Jersey Mason-Dixon line. Anything over Ocean County is really good. So, I mean, that's really how I fell in love with it. Growing up as an Italian American in New Jersey, which I feel like most of the people in New Jersey are, you're exposed to it at an early age. It's probably one of the first things I've ever eaten. So again, it's kind of in my blood.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So take us through your life. So you grew up in New Jersey, which I'm from Western PA and lived in Ocean City, New Jersey. So I'm very familiar with where you're at. And
Yeah,
growing up Italian
cool.
American also. So you're there, and then what happens? Like you fall in love with pizza, and where does your life take you?
Yeah, well, honestly, the pizza thing's always been part of me, but the making it is, over the last, I'd say, 7 years of my life. So I, as you can see from my shirt, I'm in tech. I work for a company called Restaurant 365. So actually, we sell our software services to restaurants. So being inside of restaurants, and even before that, working into the front of the house and the back of the house through college, just to make ends meet, I've always kind of been exposed, I guess, to that culinary world. And having two sisters, and that Italian side of my family, cooking is just part of growing up, right? So I've always loved to cook, but the baking aspect is something that really hit me, like many people. For me, it was right before COVID. Um, Baking was before that, but pizza started about a year before COVID. I was living in Chicago at the time. I moved out of New York about a decade ago. I spent a lot of time in Chicago. We can get into this argument later on who's better, Chicago or New York style pizza, but Chicago's got its spots for sure.
Yeah.
But it was not cutting it for me. So, I took it upon myself just due to craving it and wanting something better. And I say that in respect because Chicago's got a lot of really good pizzerias out there, a lot. Um, and I taught myself. It was a lot of YouTube videos. I've been very lucky to know a few people in New Jersey who own pizzerias. I've taken tips from them. Tony Baloney's Mike, I know you've talked to him in the past, who's a
Yeah, it's
great guy, a
great.
family friend too. I've connected with many pizzerias from Dops in Brooklyn, Chrissy's. I mean, the great thing about the pizza community is they're there to help. I'm a sales leader. I've been in sales for a lot, so I guess sliding into pizzerias DMs is kind of easy for me to get their attention. Um, but a lot of trial and error. So it started as desperation on wanting good pizza, and I
Yeah.
kind of decided to take it upon myself and start making it. And it didn't start as good pizza. I will tell you that. It was horrible. So a lot of trial and error got me there for sure.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. So then you go from there and you start pizza pop-ups. So tell me the story about how you started serving pizza because obviously your pizza got better because I was looking at your Instagram page and the pizza looks amazing to me.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I moved from Chicago actually to San Diego right after the pandemic, right? And there's some great pizzerias in San Diego. You just kind of have to look for them and be sort of part of that community to find them. Pizza in California is a little bit different, but very good. But still, my craft started to get much better. I started an Instagram page, a small following at this point. But I started to get inquiries and people DMing me saying, "Hey, the pizza looks great. How can I buy it?" And I'm in a plane a lot due to work, so a side hustle with pizza is tough just because there's so much labor and love, especially that goes into the dough and the ingredients to kind of make it a full time thing. So I started a website and I started my page and I decided to start having just monthly bakes. Really, it didn't start as a pop up. It started as serving the orders I got through my website and through the inquiries on Instagram, which were I had one bake a month. It's all I had time for, and 10 to 15 orders, so small, right?
Yeah.
Feedback was great. I've used my neighborhood and family friends to kind of test it and give me blunt feedback, which is the best kind of feedback from family because they're not going to hold back,
Yeah.
especially the Italian side of your family. They definitely don't hold back.
No.
So I basically I took my 5 or 6 favorites, crowd favorites, as I crowdsourced ideas and feedback. And my first pop up, my wife's a nurse at UCSD, so I had a pop up at the UCSD outside the hospital area,
Nice.
and it went fairly well. I learned a lot, especially in regards to prep and workflow, because it was it. I pulled it off. I did. Everything went well, but wow, it's a lot of work, especially when you have that many people who are interested and want to eat, right? So the service side of it is it's like a plane and building a plane and flying in the air. I took a crash course on what to do. My next two were fairly, I guess, operationally better. I knew what to kind of prep prior. My dough I changed up a little bit just due to the elements outside. San Diego, and I don't know where you are now, but San Diego's weird. People think it's sunny and perfect out here every day. It is for the most part, but May and June you'll get a lot of moisture in the air. So dough, right, reacts differently in high moisture, areas. So I had to adjust on the fly. So it's been a great learning lesson. I'm definitely excited for my next bake and my next pop up. I don't know where it is yet, but the connections I've made in the community here in San Diego, it's pretty special. I mean, there's a lot of really really cool restaurant owners here that are, like I said, more than willing to help. So far so good, lot to learn, but I'm already starting. I mean, just bringing Tony Baloney's up and Mike. I want to start a pizza truck business, and he has one he wants to sell me at this point. But it's like, how am I
Yeah.
going to get it from Hoboken, New Jersey, out to California
Yeah.
with it in one piece? So I'm starting to figure out what my next step is in regards to the business. But like I said, at the early stages right now, I'm just loving it.
That's incredible. So tell me about your dough.
Yeah. Well, it changes, right? So I started with a very simple AP flour. I wasn't even using bread flour in the beginning. I mean, that's how little I knew, right? But I
Sure.
started making sourdough bread, right, and started understanding the techniques in that and the fermentation that goes into it, and the starter, which in itself is science and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I also started really testing the types of flours I use. So, your typical is going to a King Arthur's bread flour or some type of Manitoba, which is high protein.
Yeah.
But and this is the owner of Adopt. I tried all Trumps too because that's the classic New York City, high protein flour that you're supposed to get. But I still didn't like not just the taste, but really the structure and the air, or I guess the gas, if you will, that was in that flour and in that dough. So I recently switched over to King Arthur Lancelot, I think is the name of
Mhm.
it, or is it? Yeah. So I do half that, and I do half Hayden Mills, which is the owner of Bianco Napoli tomatoes, Chris Napoli.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also has a flour that he makes from the desert in Arizona, which is freshly milled. So My doughs are generally about 30% of that freshly milled, 70% of the high protein.
Hmm.
I use that sourdough starter, which is, I would say at this point, 40% stone ground rye and then just regular AP. So it adds a
Hmm.
texture and a zing to it, if you will, a little higher sourdough content, if there's, for lack of better phrases. And I bulk ferment for 1 day.
Yeah.
And then I separate into my dough balls and I do a 4 day ferment. I've tried 2 days, I've tried three, but you don't really get that gas, right? Or the texture that you're looking for when you go less than 4 days, in my opinion. So it's labor of love, a lot of, A/B testing, a lot of waste, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I feel, I mean, for my New York style anyway, that's kind of my go-to dough recipe right now. I've got a few others for my Detroit style, excuse me, and my bar pies, but my go-to and what I'm selling is generally that New York style or New Jersey style, as I'm calling it.
Yeah, that's my favorite pizza. It's a great
Hands
pizza.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can have it every day. It's amazing.
I do, which is why I'm gaining weight. I've got to stop eating it every day. So yeah,
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. That's so we try to eat very healthy. We try to eat like, carnivore or animal based, but then, I do the pizza podcast and I talk to a lot of people that make really good pizza. And so I look at pizza all day. And so then by dinner,
starts
it's like,
talking to you.
I
Yeah.
want pizza for dinner.
Yes.
So
I know how that feels.
what if you go out and you order a pizza or you even have pizza, what is your favorite pizza?
Great question. Right now it's Tribute, and that's in San Diego.
Okay.
Tribute Pizza in San Diego. I mean, it's an absolute beast of a shop. I mean, it probably sits over 70 people. It's an old bank, I think, that they sort of rehabilitated or rehabbed into a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And it's themed, which is kind of, shticky in a sense, which I didn't think I would like. But essentially, what he does is he pays homage to pizzerias around this country that he's eaten at, and he's created like pizzas, right? So he's got Apollonia Pizzas, which is a very good LA based pizzeria.
Mhm.
He's got one from uh, Chrissy's Pizza in Brooklyn, and they change, right? He's got Napolitano style as well from Italy. So you get to pick and actually experience some other pizzerias in San Diego, or at least close to that style. So I'd say that's my favorite in San Diego. When I go back home,
Incredible.
which will be in 3 weeks, and I'm very excited. I am I love Best Pizza in Brooklyn. I've mentioned Chrissy's. I've mentioned Dop. I am dying to get into Sarah's, which is in Manhattan right now. I think they're probably, for a $63 pizza, I guess the demand's pretty high. So it just, based on the look of it, the texture of it, and the guys seem like regular dudes like me who just kind of figured out a recipe that works, and they're running with it and they're doing great right now. I think that's probably the first place I'll visit once I get back home, for sure.
That's so awesome. A lot of good pizza places.
Yeah, there's so many, as you know, in New York, and there's a lot in Philly too. Being a Pennsylvania girl, I'm sure you've been to plenty out there. There's a lot of good pizza in Philly.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, I'm going home too for my summer, like, vacation, my break, and I have,
Yeah.
like, lined up people that have been on the podcast and just
Cool. Very
different
cool.
pizzerias, so I'm planning on pizza tours between New York, New Jersey, and PA for when the time I'm there.
Yeah, I check out Mike's Tony Baloney's. He does a lot of very crazy things, and he's got a new
Mhm.
mozzarella line out too, Mad Mutz, which has been flying off the shelves. It's a very different experience there. I'm sure you'd love it.
Yeah, so we lived in Ocean City, so
Yeah,
my brother was telling me about Mike, and, we used to see him at the farmers markets.
yeah.
And so we heard about the mozzarella, and so my husband and I started going to Tony Baloney's, and we love the sesame seed crust of
It's
of the
something
pizzas.
I stole and I use it all the time. It's
It's
awesome.
so good.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So
So
good.
we became obsessed, and then we would buy the fresh mozzarella from him
Mhm.
from, Reed's farm, and then I had him on the podcast, so then I said to my husband, I was like, we have to order the mozzarella sticks. So I think we ordered like every one and we had friends over and
I
we
haven't
made
tried
them
them
and
yet.
oh,
Are
they're
they
so
good?
good.
Oh,
Oh,
I
they're
gotta try.
so good.
They look like it's real ingredients. I mean, I know it's real ingredients, right? You could tell
Yeah.
just by looking at the, the advertising. So I will definitely have to order some for sure.
They taste like clean mozzarella, like a mozzarella stick that's actually tastes like it's not made of crappy ingredients, which is the
Poison.
first almost yeah, mozzarella stick that I've ever had like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a
It's
huge fan. I mean, we grew up on it, right? With their little
yeah,
sort of bowl of marinara sauce. And as a kid, that, with pizzas generally comes mozzarella sticks. So yeah, my sister's tried it. She still lives in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. So she's, a hop, skipping away really from Hoboken and Atlantic City, where his other shop is. So
yeah,
she said they're incredible. So I definitely have to dig in.
yeah, yeah, no, they're super good. We're like 15 minutes from him in Atlantic City, so that'll be one of my first stops, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think you should stop by. So have you ever heard he's changed his name? His name's Mike Fitzik, I think. He used to be called the Pizza Jew.
I
So
know
you know who I'm
exactly who
talking
you're
about.
talking about. Yeah,
Bakeria. Yeah. That's
yeah,
another place that I've got to get to because he's just
yeah,
one, he's a great guy. He's given me a bunch of tips and he's very open to teaching.
yeah.
But yeah, his pizza looks so good.
So he's incredible. So he was in Linwood, and we used to go over to the place all the time in Linwood, and we would eat there. And then he wasn't in Linwood anymore. I think they closed the place down, and they have, someone else moved into there. So then he opened in Ocean City, and I haven't seen him since he moved to Ocean City, but he's
Bakeria,
for
right?
sure. Oh
I
yeah,
think that's what it's called. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's on my list there. And then I just interviewed the guy who owns Ida's in Philly.
What's the name of it?
It's Ida's Pizzeria.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I follow those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hit him up, and then A Slice in New York is right near where my parents are in Western PA. So I had him on the podcast, so we're gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit him up, and then obviously my parents' place because I'm gonna go there and film content. But it's kind of nice, my life has begun to revolve around pizza, and I love talking to people who also love pizza.
I mean, it's funny, and I know you know this because you spoke to a lot of people, but it becomes an obsession. You get so one, it's fun to make, right?
Yeah,
But you know this, speaking to everybody, most people that do it, they want to master their craft, so they're doing whatever they can to make it better and to use the best ingredients. And I mean, at this point I'm losing money, but I don't care, right? I mean, I'm doing it for sport almost and fun. And
hmm
really what I'm prepping for is to build that base. So when I do retire, I can just kick this thing off and get ready to go. So I've got a 15-year plan, maybe a little bit less, hopefully. But until then, these pop-ups will continue and I'm sure my pizza will continue to get better. That's for sure.
yeah, absolutely. So if you have to pick between like New York, New Jersey, Chicago, or West Coast pizza, what are you picking every time?
Ugh. See, it's tough because I'm so biased towards New Jersey, like Rosie's Pizza in Point Pleasant, which I don't know if you've heard of those guys. They're incredible. I mean, you've got uh bakery we've already talked about. I have to say New York though, just because, and it's 1 and 1A, right? They're very close. But I just feel like eating a slice in New York and the experience that you get, the people that you meet, it's bigger than the slice of pizza, right?
Yeah,
Of course, the food has to taste good, but I think the experience makes that pizza even better. And just
yeah,
being back in the city, living there for so long, and now living in the suburbs and a completely different life, I kind of seek that energy, and there's no better way to seek it and get it through eating pizza at a pizzeria in New York City and Brooklyn, right? So I
yeah,
would say New York, but New Jersey, they got their own thing going on. I mean, it's New York style. We say it's New Jersey style, which I think sometimes is silly. But there is slight differences. The sauce, they're all using the same cheese for the most part. Pacifido or Pasido, I don't know how he pronounces it, but it's a guy that's making great pizza out of Tom's River, New Jersey right now.
wow,
Pacidough, and I mean, it's very, very, very similar to New York. But yeah, I'd have to say New York. I'd have to say New York for sure.
yeah, yeah. I'd have to agree with you. Although, I mean, I'm partial to my parents' place. It's always going to be my favorite. but
Oh, of course.
yeah, keep
Yeah.
trying new pizzas, and I mean, it's just nice everywhere you go, there's places. There's even some cool places in Tampa that we've kind of just been, like, popping up at.
Is that where you are in Tampa?
Yeah, Tampa.
I could tell by the sun. There's usually clouds in the Northeast at this point, so
The
yeah,
sun that
makes sense.
never sets in the
Yeah,
summer.
I mean, Tampa's a great town. Miami's got some pretty good pizza too,
Yeah.
give or take. But I've got a lot of family in West Palm, and most people from New Jersey generally migrate down there. So it's almost a rite of passage at this point to make yourself your way down to Florida when once you hit your 60s or 70s. So pretty
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna be popping up. I mean, we have our favorites here, but I think we're gonna do a pop up at each one of the places here during this summer and do videos. So I think it's gonna be really cool. And
Oh, exciting!
we'll have yeah, we'll have them on the podcast, but we're gonna go there and eat pizza, and it's gonna be a collab with another group from Tampa. So it's gonna be fun.
Let me know when you're out here in San Diego. We'll do something together. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love that. But I
Yeah,
wanted to know too. So what does the future look like for Beatles Pizza?
yeah. So bright, hopefully, right? I think, and I've already at this point committed to myself that this is what I want to do. Whether it be a side hustle right now with pop-ups, hopefully gravitate towards a truck. I don't know about opening a restaurant at this point. It's something that I'd want to dig my heels into.
Yeah.
Although I'm in restaurants a lot, I understand the operational side of it. Margins aren't great. Labor's obviously incredibly high here in California. And
Yeah.
in restaurants, your controllables are your cost of goods and your labor, right? So if you can't control that, you're not making much money. I feel like I have more control if I have a smaller outfit like a truck. And as a retirement plan, which again, hopefully in my 50s it'll be done. Um, it'd be something pretty cool to fall back on. And instead of spending, excuse me, a small percentage of my time per week on making pizza, I could spend a big amount of my time. So to fully answer your question, right now it's going to be monthly bakes, maybe a pop-up once a quarter. Demand will continue to rise, and I may be forced to get my wife and other people involved to help with that demand. It seems like that's coming quickly.
Yeah.
um, but I'll probably do that until I retire, and from there, the truck thing's definitely happening. So I'm pretty excited.
That's so incredible. I mean, the truck is cool. You can go so many places, have pop-ups, meet people, the experiences.
That's right.
It's just
Yeah,
really, really cool way to serve pizza.
and it's not hot in California, or at least in San Diego. So it's not like in New York City in the summer. It just doesn't sound fun. So it's California's a cool state. I mean, I didn't think so, quite frankly, until I moved here. I definitely was East Coast biased, but
Yeah.
the way of living, especially here in San Diego, and the pizza community is pretty cool. So I'm excited for sure.
Yeah, I love California. My sister lives in LA and I try to make it out there every so often. And, we hike, we eat tacos, we eat pizza, and just a nice time to go out there.
Yeah. Oh, especially now. I mean, the June gloom, which is kind of settling in. It's so the marine layer comes here and it's cloudy for a month, but it
Mhm.
feels like it's almost past, at least here in San Diego. So the weather 75 with the breeze right now. You can't beat it. It's great.
Wow, that's so incredible. Yeah, we're like 100 and then a thunderstorm for maybe 15 minutes and then back to like
Right.
good. That's pretty much gonna be the whole summer here, but I try to
That's
make it out to
Florida.
the Northeast. Yeah, pizza, family, and that's my time to be there.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, I mean, next time in your LA, I'll send you some recommendations, ones that I've been in. LA's pizza game stepped up in the last, I mean, you see it just in the last 7 to 10 years. I mean, pizza
Yeah,
everywhere, right? I mean, when I grew up, and of course this is biased, but I feel like you really couldn't get a good slice outside of the tri-state area, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, maybe Connecticut, New York, definitely. Now, I mean, you can pretty much get good pizza anywhere in this country, which is pretty cool.
yeah, absolutely. I was watching I think it's the Chef's Table Pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and just how, like, I think one of the critics said, "You would always say New York, New Jersey for pizza," and I think he
Mhm.
said Phoenix, Arizona, and people were like, "What?" And just
Cristiano.
highlighted yeah, you can go anywhere and get good pizza.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually headed to um, Arizona, which is where my wife grew up. to Northern Scottsdale, and we're going to hit Pizza Bianco, excuse me. Hopefully Chris would be there. That'd be pretty cool to meet him, because that guy, I mean, he's obviously a genius. I think if I were to meet two guys right now, it would be him, and the other is Dan Richter from Raza in Jersey City. Uh, I have his book, and he's like a mad scientist. I mean, everything that he does is literally perfection, and the testing that goes on to get the perfect pizza, it's almost at obsessive compulsive sort of rates, right? Which is crazy, but kind of cool. I kind of dig it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, those 2 names are mentioned a lot. Tony Gemignani, he's mentioned so much on the
Oh
podcast.
gosh, yeah.
He's
Oh
inspired
yeah.
so many people who are making pizza now, and I have his book here behind me, and I've been looking at that book so much lately.
Yeah. I've got a behind me just an array of that second row there is mostly food and pizza books. And I mean, that's how you learn, and um it's fun. It's just for me, what started as a hobby is kind of turning into a passion. And my family supports it. My wife supports it. At first, they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you spending so much time doing this?" And they just didn't really get it. But I think they kind of get it now, because I've always cooked my whole entire life. I mean, if I were to go back and sort of restart life, if you will, I definitely would have gone to culinary school and started a restaurant. Labor of love, and I masochist, obviously, if I were to do it, because I know it's hell on earth. But at least you're having fun while you're working. At least I would. So
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same as you. I would have lived in Italy. I would have learned to cook in
yes,
Italy. You
definitely.
remember going there at 16 and just, like, not appreciating it, but, like, really appreciating that experience and embracing it, and then going and cooking because pizza's in my blood. My grandfather opened up in 1960, and
Oh, cool.
place is still open today, and my first memory is, like, sitting on the floor of the pizzeria eating pizza at, like, 2 or 3 years old.
Oh gosh, you didn't have a chance. This was your destiny regardless. I mean, the fact that you grew up this way, my gosh, that's so cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I was holding boxes, like, I think he paid us, like, 5 or 10 cents a box at, like, 7, 8 years old, and just, the life my life has been pizza.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. I think I don't know. And maybe it's just because we're Italians, and it's part of who we are, and we grew up that way. I know that's a big part of it. But yeah, and you mentioned it. I think there, and I said it too. There's this sort of experience that you have with pizza. I always say, even when pizza's bad, it's good. You still finish that slice. And generally, when you're eating pizza, there's a social component to it, right? You're sitting in front of loved ones, in front of friends, family, and I don't think I've ever had a bad time or gotten into a fight when eating a slice of pizza with anybody. It's almost like a natural, um, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Suppressant, if you will, depressant. It's like drinking a beer without the alcohol. It just puts you at peace, at least for me, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I had, Pizza Delora, Chef Delora on the Pizza Story
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah, I
and
saw.
she said the coolest thing that, like, she walks out into the kitchen and everyone's enjoying their pizza and, like, no one's in a bad mood, and to be able to serve that and to see that experience and people happy and having that time together is, like, really something special about that.
I would agree. You bring up a good point too. I think there's a selflessness that comes to any person that makes pizza. They do it for the passion of it, but it's service too, right? You're serving and creating an experience for people that come in as patrons to your restaurant and are expecting to get their money's worth, right? And that is important. I can only assume. I mean, we know at this point, to any chef, but especially any guy that makes pizza, right? And maybe it's insecurity, I don't know, but I'm always asking, what would you change? You kind of have to do that. If ego gets part of it, and you think you make it, and this is anything in life, not to get too so deep, but
Yeah,
um, I didn't realize how bad I was, right? Until I started looking at what other people were doing, like, holy shit, I've got a lot to learn. And I
I do
just,
that
you buckle
too.
down and you do it. So it's
Yeah.
fun. It's been a fun experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. Just always how can we make it better? How can we make the podcast better? How can we make better pizza? How can we go and interview? Who can we have on? But it's creative. It's a constant create in the direction that you want to go.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got a little bit of a corner in the market. I mean, there's a few pizza podcasts out there. Um, so I think you're kind of ahead of the game right now, and I think it's going to be pretty cool, especially with the folks that you're interviewing as well. I mean, you've interviewed some folks that have large operations, right? And then
Yeah.
you've talked to some folks like me, so you're really getting the full scale and spectrum of the reach of pizza, and I think that's really cool. I really do.
Thank you. I wanna talk to every single family-owned, family Italian people making pizza. I will not stop till I've talked to every person, and I
I
think
love
there's
it.
70,000 family-owned pizzerias, and I'm like, I'm talking to everyone.
Is there 70,000? Is that how many are in this country?
Yeah,
Wow, that's wild. You know what? I would love, and I should know this information considering I work for a restaurant tech company, and we've got a lot of pizzerias that use our services and our software. But I
yeah,
would love to see the average lifespan of a restaurant in this country. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. 30% of restaurants fail in their first year.
yeah.
80% fail in their first 10 years. But for some reason, and I could be wrong here, I would have to think that pizzerias have a longer lifespan just because I feel like it's a staple in every American's diet at this point. Um, so I mean, maybe that's something I could look into. Now I'm interested. I just feel like pizza is going to kind of stand the length of time, if you will. It's never going away. Um,
It's
which is
so
cool.
big now. There's so much centered around it, and I don't know if it was like that before. I mean, in my world, it was like my parents' pizzeria, my grandpa's pizzeria was never closing. It's never closing in my universe.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Be
Well,
there
I mean,
forever.
you bring up a good point, though. I mean, and I say what you will about him, but the whole Portnoy kind of effect and what he's done for small businesses during COVID, but
Yeah,
even him going out and doing his pizza reviews, I think it's opened up a lot of eyes and has, whether he wanted to do this or not, I'm pretty sure he didn't. It's created a lot of people that are more interested in pizza, which is why I think some of these pizzerias can, which I think is crazy, $63 for a pizza, but it's why they can charge that because the demand is there and it's so good. I mean, pizza today, in comparison to when I grew up eating pizza in Toms River, New Jersey, which is where I grew up,
yeah,
it was good, but it's nothing like what some of these guys are doing now. I mean, it's almost a work of art. It really
yeah.
is.
Yeah, he has changed the trajectory for so many pizzerias that I talk to. He walks in there and
I
it's
know. It's golden
he
goose.
changes the game. So I have so much, admiration for him just in that respect of like putting these places on the map.
I
And
agree.
I like his reviews. I really enjoy like just
We're
hearing
East
and I
Coast, so
haven't
we kind of get it. Yeah. Yeah. For
I
sure.
haven't heard like unless someone fully disrespects him, I don't see him necessarily just going and giving a bad review, which I respect that.
Well, it's funny. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I've seen some comments specifically from Best Pizza, Frank, who's the Gosney guy. Everyone knows him at this point, out of Brooklyn. And I mean, he said it very, very well. And he was not throwing shade at Dave per se, but he more or less talks about, going in and ranking pizza, and, determining what your feelings are about that pizza isn't what pizza's all about, right? It's about what we were just talking about, the sharing and the connection that you have with people while eating it and how it's become more of a social thing. But I mean, I'm sorry, Frank, but without Dave Portnoy right now, Gosney would have never probably been born. Some of these home pizzeria kits would have never been born. And he's made his dent in the industry for sure, for the good.
Yeah, I agree for the good.
Yeah,
And I think, with the podcast and, talking to people like you and talking to pizzerias in different places, I love that the pizza's getting shown, the pizza's getting rated, but I wanna know about the families, and I wanna know about
yeah,
how they
yeah,
started it because that was like we have our pizzeria, we've been serving the community for 65 years, but there's a story behind that, which is an Italian
yeah.
immigrant and someone who really struggled to have this dream to open this pizzeria because he wanted something for his family, and there's so many other people who have that same idea and passion of like, I want to leave something on this earth when I'm not here anymore.
I love it. I love it. And the fact that you guys have been around for 60 plus years is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
that's unheard of. It really is. So and I know I'm not supposed to interview you, but I'm curious. So is that just that business has been kind of passed on through generation to generation. Is
Yeah.
that basically what's gone on in family?
Yeah, so by the whole reason I started this, I wrote a book about my grandfather, and he was an Italian immigrant from Abruzzo, Italy, and he worked in the coal mines. He immigrated, I think he was pulled out of school at 9 or 11 years old, worked in the coal mines, had this dream to open this pizzeria, like, saved his money, opened it up, and was, had this pizzeria until the day he died, and then my dad took it over and my uncle, and they run it now, and it's
Cool.
still family owned, and, I really got involved. I mean, I've been involved my whole life,
Yeah.
but my dad had heart surgery a couple years ago, and I went home for the year to help my family, and I was like, "Hey, I do marketing. Let's go. Do your marketing. You can, work there." And he was like, "I don't believe in marketing. I'm not going." And I was just like, "Get in the car. Like, we're gonna go."
Right.
And, we started filming and I think it was right before COVID, but we were on TikTok and went viral. We have videos with 64 million views on there.
Holy smoke! What's the name of the pizzeria again? I want to make sure I follow you
It's
guys.
Darks Pizza, Darcspizza. If you
Okay,
go on
sorry.
TikTok. Now I have
DAR.
been
Darks.
Darcspizza, Darks Pizza, Darks Pizza. But I've
Cool.
been negligent on posting lately because I've just been busy with my own stuff. But it's, it's gotten, and he ended up like we had lines out the door and it just really got crazy.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure that's when he was like, "Holy, like we've got to." I mean, if, not that it wasn't busy before, but once you start having lining out the doors, things got to
yeah,
change in regards to workflows and how you handle things. So, what an experience! How cool.
yeah, he agreed that marketing worked after that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
How
we just
cool.
agreed. Yeah, but, so I wanna know, how do people find you?
Yeah. So I've got really two places, and they're both connected, so you can go to either one. Um, Beatles Pizza SD on Instagram. I post a menu, which is my site, once a month. You can order through that site. Right now, I think I've got 7 types of pizzas that you can order from. I generally cut that down to 3 or 4. It just becomes too much at that point for at least one guy to handle.
Mhm,
Um, but my next bake is June 11th. It's not going to happen this month because I'll be in Jersey towards the end of the month, but it'll be July, whatever the second weekend in July is. And I'll probably have that posted 3 weeks prior. So obviously
mhm,
I can start prepping and get ready. As far as pop up, I don't have one set yet. That my next one's probably going to be in August just due to travel from work and going back home for vacation. But I will probably have that announced on Instagram, which is basically my sort of source of truth where everything goes, with menu and excuse me, location within the month. So they can find me there.
perfect. Well, when we post, we'll make sure that we post all the links to the website and the Instagram and all the different places so that people can find you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll resend you the information via Instagram so you have it. So
Awesome. Well, Bill, it was so great talking to you. I
yeah,
loved
my
having you on
pleasure.
the podcast.
It was my pleasure. It was really really nice meeting you. I really appreciate this time, and good luck. Whatever I can do to help, anything, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Talk soon.
Thank you.
All right.